and welcome back to another episode of Back in My Day, the Graham family podcast where three generations gather. Sometimes with birthday cake, sometimes with warm gummy bears that have been in my pocket all day long. To talk movies and what they meant to us then and now. I'm your host, Mark Graham, proud Gen Xer, John Hughes disciple, and a man who sadly has never experienced the joy of catching a foul ball at Wrigley Field. Joining me, as always, are my talented co-hosts. Meghan, our millennial cusper who knows exactly how to navigate teenage awkwardness on screen and off. Max, who's in that sweet spot where these teen movies really start to hit different. And Zach in my day, our 9-year-old mascot and future Sausage King of Chicago, or maybe just Mamaroneck. And together,
we argue about your movie picks.
We decide if they still hold up.
I'll say something weird.
This is
Back in My Day.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight, we're doing a John Hughes double feature with two quintessential teen classics from the king of 1980s high school comedy. First up is 16 Candles from 1984, where Samantha Baker's entire family forgets her birthday and she pines after her senior crush. Then we're pairing it with 1986's Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where the most charming slacker in cinema history skips school, borrows his best friend's dad's Ferrari, and shows us all how to seize the day.
So, on one side, it's forgotten birthdays, school dances, and peak teen angst. On the other, it's pure wish fulfillment, a perfect day off with your friends, outsmarting every snooty maitre d' and menacing principal in the greater Chicagoland area.
Tonight, we're asking what holds up, what makes us cringe 3 decades later, and can Gen Alpha kids relate to a world before helicopter parents and Find My iPhone? Does 16 Candles' sweetness overcome its seriously problematic moments? Does Ferris Bueller still feel like the ultimate escape, or does it just feel like a rich kid conning his whole town?
We're going to break down both movies, trade trivia and behind-the-scenes nuggets, and, as always, get final verdicts from Max and Zach on what kids today should watch. Important heads up to the parental units out there before we dive in today, though. 16 Candles contains some outdated and possibly offensive, probably offensive, stereotypes.
Definitely
not to mention
offensive.
some seriously problematic behavior involving boys taking advantage of a drunk girl. These elements have not aged well at all. But we'll talk about it. But if these topics are rough for you or your young listeners, you might want to skip ahead to the Ferris Bueller discussion, which happens about 15 minutes or so into this podcast. And as always, spoilers ahead. All right, let's forget some birthdays and take the day off. It's time to go back in my day with 16 Candles. Max, why don't you give us a rundown on 16 Candles?
So basically, there's this girl, Sam, and she wakes up on her 16th birthday and figures out her entire family has forgot her birthday, seeing as it's her sister's getting married tomorrow. So she goes to school, and even all her friends forgot her birthday, and she's super sad. So she goes home, and she's just super angry. And there's this geek on the school bus who's trying to hit on her and failing miserably. And so they go back home, and her grandparents are home, and there's a whole bunch of chaos happening with that. And Sam goes to a school dance, and she ends up talking to the geek, and she talks to the geek, and he hypes her up to go talk to her crush, who is a senior who already has a girlfriend. So she also hypes the geek up and tells him that he can do it, whatever he's trying to do. And so she goes up, she's about to talk to her crush, but she chickens out at the last second and goes home and just gets super upset. So the geek ends up going to a party, and he strikes a deal with Sam's crush, who doesn't like his girlfriend. He thinks she's childish and immature and doesn't want to date her anymore. So he breaks up with her, and then we cut to the next day where there's a bunch of wedding chaos, and Sam's sister is just acting super crazy, but she ends up getting married, barely, and she leaves for her honeymoon before Sam has the chance to say goodbye. And she's pretty sad, but then she sees her crush waving at her from across the street, and they start talking and drive off, and that's the movie.
Great. So, Mark, why don't you tell us why'd you pick this movie for our podcast?
Well, I'm a child of the 80s. It was the 80s, man, when I was growing up, and there was nobody who was more definitive in movie culture in the 1980s than John Hughes. John Hughes was the writer and director of 16 Candles. He was the writer of a bunch of popular movies in the early 80s, starting off with Vacation and National Lampoon's European Vacation. He, of course, made 16 Candles. He followed that up with The Breakfast Club. He followed that up with Weird Science. He wrote Pretty in Pink. He did Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which we're about to talk about in a little bit. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. She's Having a Baby. Home Alone. This guy was the definitive voice of all things teen culture in the 1980s, and I thought it would be a great movie for us to discuss together today here as a family. And we went to actually go see it the other night as part of the Video Vault series, which is held at the Mamaroneck Cinemas each month. And I don't know, I think we had a pretty good time with it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? Did it hold up as a film?
100%.
100%.
I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I liked it.
Well, actually, I forgot what movie you were talking about. I thought we were Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a couple things that if you did now, it would probably be rated R or something. Because if you expose this to kids, like mild cursing and all this stuff, and showing someone's panties to a whole group of people,
Yeah.
you would like probably go to the
problematic.
principal's
Meep.
office and get expelled. So.
Well, there was also like a totally nude shower scene.
Sure.
And what do you think about it was a PG movie. What do you all think about that?
No. even when there was only PG and R-rated movies, that still should have been PG. Like, there's the F word, which today you can have one in your PG-13 movie as long as it's an hour and a half into the movie. They break this one out like 10 minutes into the movie. So,
It was the 80s, man.
and yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that definitely would not fly today.
Yeah, there are a bunch of words that we don't say anymore. There also, I mean, there were entire characters, like Long Duck Dong was a character that the actor ended up regretting after the movie came out because it was just all a kind of giant stereotype. There's the scene with Jake's girlfriend. The way that they handle that is really not okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's surprising to me that it was PG, but
Well, it certainly wasn't an R-rated movie. The demographic and people that John Hughes was trying to talk to and talk about were kids who were teenagers. They were younger than 17 years old. This is a movie about a high school experience, and I don't know. I don't think it should have been rated R then, and it certainly shouldn't be rated R now. It would definitely be a PG-13 if that existed because of elements like you mentioned, like there's nudity, there's definitely a bunch of cursing, and there's some problematic elements there for sure.
well, luckily the actress who's nude was actually 25, but she plays a 17-year-old essentially.
Well, it was a body double.
Okay.
That's worth noting for sure. But yeah, I don't know, but I will say that nudity is part of the high school experience. And, it wasn't in this particular instance, like high school is really a time when boys and girls both are like using the locker room at gym. You get sweaty at school, you need to clean off before. That was how nudity was presented in this instance. And again, that's kind of part of the high school experience. So I feel like and maybe it was a little bit exploitative, but again, I think it was just in line with the times and with the era and what he was trying to depict.
For sure. And John Hughes really started this trend of following high school kids in films, which now lots of the most popular shows are about teenagers. But before the 80s, there weren't really tons of shows or movies that...
No, for sure. I think he had a really specific sort of vision and a really relatable way that he wrote his characters, the way that he treated them, the way that I think that he really empathized, particularly with young women on screen. Molly Ringwald in this movie became a generational icon, and she went on to work with him in a couple of different movies, some of the ones you mentioned before, like The Breakfast Club and like Pretty in Pink. And I think it certainly there are parts of it that do not hold up, and I think that we'll be discussing here in a minute. But largely speaking, it's still hilarious. I was laughing like crazy. I was sitting next to Zach in my day in the movie, and you were cracking up the entire movie.
Remember the long dog bike?
It really plays to that 9-year-old sense of humor.
I was 10 when I first saw it. I saw it at a birthday party in the movie theater when it first came out, and it definitely blew my mind.
I can imagine. What were there parts of it that you guys liked besides the bike scene? What about you, Max?
I thought like Sam's whole arc was just like it was like super like she was 100% valid in almost everything that she did. Like I feel like that was good.
Yeah, they really captured that kind of awkward space between being a preteen and a teenager. It was pretty terrifying when her grandmother felt her up. But I thought that was really nice. Or she's kind of on the edge of being just like a nerd. She's kind of closer to Farmer Ted than she is to the guy that she has a crush on, but she's kind of shifting into that new phase. So that part's definitely interesting. What's your favorite part of this movie, Dad?
I have so many favorite parts of this movie, but I think my certainly favorite part is a scene that we have queued up. So let's roll the clip here with Long Duck Dong.
Here,
I'll help you. Canine cologne.
Oh, no more Yankee, my wanky. The donga need food.
Hell, he's 3 sheets to the wind. He's drunk as a skunk.
Oh, why don't you shut up, Fred? Shut up. Dong. Dong.
Dong, Grandpa is talking to you.
Dong. Where is my automobile?
Automobile? Leg. Big leg.
Why, you little scuzzbag.
So you chose one of the more problematic moments in this movie. Why don't you tell us why you decided that was the right clip?
Well, it's incredibly quotable. I say automobile all the time still to this day.
Never heard you say that once.
Well, maybe not with you, but it's certainly something that at least I say it in my head almost every single time I turn on the car. No, but I thought that it's a good scene with the grandparents who are pre-baby boomers. These are like the generation before that.
The greatest generation.
The
right?
greatest generation. The way that they spoke, the vernacular they used, which was certainly a little bit racist for sure, but also I know that you said that the actor Getty Watanabe, who played Long Duck Dong, regretted the role. He crushed it. He knocked it out of the park. He was so funny. It's a very, very memorable scene, and showing the aftermath of the huge party the night before when this exchange student from Japan has his first real experience as an American. He's been trapped in the house with these old grandparents who are making him mow the lawn and do all this crazy stuff, and he finally gets to have like the American teenage experience. He meets this chick who likes him. They get to make out a little bit.
Ew.
He has some illicit beers here and there, and he ends up drunk on the lawn the next day. And again, it's just
completely collapsed. Starfish.
well, they think he's dead. And the thing that I never really noticed until we rewatched it this time is at the end, the grandma kicks him in the stomach and calls him a scuzzbag.
Scumbag, actually.
Okay, sorry.
But like Long Duck doing like the kids' toy trucks. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
He killed your car.
There were definitely some interesting family dynamics. I remember when I was around Max's age watching this movie, I thought it was so funny that Sam's sister took some over the counter or prescription
Muscle relaxers.
and was crazy. But it's so interesting that her parents didn't stop the wedding, or given they had this awful dinner the night before, it seemed like they had just met both her fiance
Plus,
and his
that
parents
was-
the night before.
The rice checks?
The rice checks.
Plus, they were definitely not meant for each other. They were getting divorced in like 2 years. Like, they did not seem like her sister and her husband did not seem like a good fit for each other at all.
Can I turn the tables and ask you a question?
Yeah.
Jake Ryan, one of the biggest dreamboats in cinema history. How did Jake Ryan, the whole Jake Ryan experience, hold up for you this time around?
He's still a dreamboat, and he was in films for a little while, and then he left to become a woodworker. So
Well, you were
holds
you were
up.
mentioning after the movie that you thought he was exhibiting a little bit of like stalkerish behavior regarding Sam.
well, sorry, you're right. So physically, still a dreamboat. When I was like, if I push on it a little bit, a lot of the dynamic was really messed up. Because watching it the first time around, I think I just loved
That he was so handsome.
he was so handsome and quiet, and he seemed sort of cerebral, and he wasn't into his party girlfriend. And I loved the dynamic of Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall, and him also befriending Anthony Michael Hall. It was a great kind of trio. But when I'm watching it, this past week, I couldn't help but notice that he read a note where Samantha declared that she wanted to sleep with him, and then he started pursuing her, having never had a conversation with her, and then calls her at her home, she doesn't respond to it, and then he just shows up at her sister's wedding. It's all pretty strange in reality. Also, he didn't actually break up with his girlfriend, and he was doing all of this while he still technically had a girlfriend.
True, but he had mentally broken up with her, although he hadn't actually communicated
that count?
yet.
As a breakup?
No.
Sort of. And she ends up dumping him the morning after. But I think one of the other classic things, it's got one of the best party scenes I've ever seen in movies, like realistically, of what it's like to mix high school kids together from different social classes together. You've got your geeks, you've got the jocks who are all like, "Arr," and they like knocked over those beer cans. And it was just a wild party. And I was like, oh my gosh, high school is going to be the best.
Also, fun fact, they did actually trash that house that we were borrowing for the movie. And
Oh,
was
what a
friend
great
of-
house, too.
yeah.
John Hughes knows his homes. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, but like one of the geeks, not the guy from One Crazy Summer and Better Off Dead,
John
the
Cusack.
John Cusack.
the
Mhm.
other one.
Oh, the other one.
I don't know how he would survive in the real world. Like, he looks such a nerd. He always had those like retractor things on. Like that was like,
Those headgears before they had
I know,
Invisalign.
I know the thing like with the braces and all that stuff. But I mean, like, he's like.
Well, they exaggerated that obviously for like comedic effect, right? Max, what did you think of the movie overall, and would you recommend this one to your friends?
I enjoyed watching it. I would maybe recommend it. I don't really know.
Okay, Zach, how many Zachs did you give it on your patented Zach scale?
So if there wasn't as many making out, it would have been like 4.2, but it's kind of 3.7 now.
3.7.
Too much making out for Zach.
Too much making out. I get it. I
And
get
what
it.
even was that bike used for? Like besides
It's exercise.
That was
Exercise
that
bike.
was exercise bikes in the 80s before they had gymnasiums where everyone went to. You had these little bikes in your house, and it helped stretch your arms and bike at your legs at the same time. My great Aunt Katie, and Aunt Amy, they had one of those in their basement, and I rode that thing all the time. Well, anything else on 16 Candles, you guys? Okay. Well, our next movie that we're doing is another John Hughes movie. This one's from 1986, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. In our So Basically segment, Max, why don't you tell everybody what the movie's about?
So basically, there's this kid named Ferris Bueller, and he is a high school senior who does not want to go to school today. And he pretends to be sick and fools his parents, but not his sister. But he gets away with it, so he calls up his friend, and he comes over, but his friend is actually sick, and he just completely shakes that off within the first 5 minutes of the movie. And so they go over to his house, and they pick up Ferris's girlfriend from school. But the principal starts getting suspicious, so he leaves the school on his own personal business. And Ferris and the gang, they go back to Cameron's house and convince Cameron to let them use his dad's super nice car, which he has never driven and he has in pristine condition, because Ferris just manipulated him into doing it. So they go out into the city and have a bunch of adventures, like they go to
What city?
Chicago. So they have a nice lunch, they go to a baseball game, and a bunch of other stuff they do, including a parade. So the principal goes back to Ferris's house, trying to snoop around and find him, and he ends up finding Ferris's sister instead, as she had gone home, and because she was just so done with everything. And she calls the police, and she ends up getting arrested because the police think she was just prank calling them. So Ferris goes back to Cameron's house, and they were just going to reverse the mileage so Cameron's dad wouldn't notice that they took the car. But that doesn't work, and the car flies out the back of Cameron's house. And yeah, so that happened, and Cameron is just completely in shock. But Ferris gets him to snap out of it, and he realizes, oh shoot, my parents are going to be home soon. So he sprints home and narrowly avoids getting caught by the principal and his parents, and makes it back into bed and gets away with Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
There's a lot of plot in this movie, right?
I
You did an awesome job summarizing it.
I also want to point out, both of these movies have so much stuff happening in the span of a day and 2 days, respectively. So
Totally. So Megan, why did you choose this movie?
It's just such a classic, so quotable. It really shaped a lot of my thinking on what it would be like to be a teenager. I was probably Max's age when I watched it, probably on VHS, and everything from Ferris talking to the camera to almost every line is quotable. Just epic.
Totally agree. So my first question, I think, for everybody here in the room is Ferris Bueller the hero of this movie, or is he the villain of the movie?
I feel like he is most definitely a villain. Like, yes, he gets his friends out for a really fun day, but he manipulates... Cameron's actually sick this entire time, and he's just feeling really crappy. And Ferris convinces him to get out of school and get out of his bed, and just, like, he's just going through all this stuff while being sick. And he also convinces him to use his dad's car, which he would get smited off the face of the planet for breathing on it wrong. And that car ends up getting completely trashed, and his house is just like, the back window is just completely open and broken. And Ferris is like, oh well, I'm gonna go home now. Like, he's just not a good friend.
So I've always fallen for the point of view of the movie, which I think is that Ferris is a hero. And I think the argument the movie is making is that Cameron was mostly depressed and had a bad relationship with his parents, and they were really rich, but they didn't appreciate him. And so Ferris kind of pushes him to get out of his comfort zone, which Cameron needs.
He still completely wrecked his entire house and car. So
100%. But the way they frame it in the movie is that Cameron finally gets up the courage to stand up to his dad and maybe like change the trajectory of his whole life in a more positive direction. And they imply that his family has so much money that actually doesn't really matter that this gorgeous car and the window of their garage was ruined.
Well, you can't replace a 1961 Ferrari. There are only like 100 of those made ever. But still, I understand your point.
I think that was kind of how I took it.
Well, I think he's a hero because he has time to do all these great things, like catch a ball in Wrigley Field, stop for the camera, and even while he's almost gonna die if his parents see him, he has time to stop and say, "Hi, my name's Ferris," and then keep doing the running sequence.
Do you think he's a good friend, Zach?
I mean, like, if you get him right, then, because you can, like, but the thing is, you can't let him manipulate him, because he can manipulate anyone to think he needs a kidney replacement to all the way going and being like, oh yeah.
Well, there's, this movie's had a lot of discourse changes over the years, and I think that the Ferris Bueller is actually a villain thing was really popular. I still think he's the hero of the movie, and there's this great scene that's only between Sloane, who is Ferris's girlfriend, and Cameron. Ferris Bueller disappears somewhere else, and they're talking about Ferris, and they're like, this is the scene right before the big parade happens. And you can just see the way that both of them talk about Ferris and the effect that he has on their lives, the way he brings them out of their shell, the way he gives everybody confidence, the way he makes everybody have a good time. And they really start basking in the glow of him, almost like he's the sun. Everybody in this entire town revolves around Ferris Bueller. He's the center of the universe. And so, I don't know, I still sort of think
He's got what they call real main character energy.
Yeah, I do think has good intentions, but he's going about it in like the wrong way. Like, yes, he ended up helping Cameron, but again, Cameron would have been like killed by his dad. Just like he would just disappear without a trace. No one would ever hear from him ever again after that car is destroyed. And yes, it probably changed his life for the better, but that would still if he didn't have that change of heart at the end of the movie, he would have gotten in insane trouble and probably like he just goes about the good things in all the wrong ways and like pushes people to do things they completely don't want to do. Just yeah,
well, it's true. But that scene with when Ferris is like off and ends up in the parade, and then when Cameron is kind of comatose because of the mileage in the car, and those are like there's like a few moments where Ferris isn't in it and his sister isn't in it. They're like those two threads. But there was also a lot of chemistry between Sloane and Cameron, and I'm curious if any of you think the two of them end up together and not Ferris.
I feel like Ferris and Sloane are like definitely like really in love. Like they seem like really happy with each other.
Well,
so I feel like they could be like good, but I don't think they would.
Cameron would never.
He also breaks the fourth wall a lot. Let's roll the clip.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
Megan, you chose this clip. Why did you pick this particular clip?
Well, the movie begins and ends and also has a few moments in the middle where Ferris is talking directly to the camera, and really blew my mind watching this movie, and just the way that he has a relationship with the audience was super interesting to me. And I think this might have been the first time where that was happening, but there's so many movies and shows where that happens. I went on to be a big fan of Saved by the Bell, and Zach Morris was always talking to the camera, which I think
Zach Morris is very Ferris Bueller coded.
Yeah.
Right?
But yeah.
But what Zach, you said it's called breaking the fourth wall. What does that mean?
I don't even know what it is.
So breaking the fourth wall, the term originates from early sitcoms where they would be filmed live in front of a studio audience, and there would only be 3 walls. There would be the 3 walls that the show is on, and then the fourth wall would not be there. That's where the audience is and all the cameras are. So whenever the person is talking directly to the camera, the audience, or like in a book, the reader, that is called breaking the fourth wall, because the fourth wall is shattered and they're talking directly to the consumer. And I think it's always really funny if done well. Like Dora the Explorer is an example of this. Deadpool is an example of this. And there's just so many other good fourth wall breaks that are always, I really love them. I think they add so much like character to the movie.
It's a big John Hughes trope. I don't know if you guys remember, but in 16 Candles, the geek, Anthony Michael Hall, he breaks the fourth wall at one point. He like looks at the camera and does a little like you always do, Zach, where you raise your eyebrows up like that. But Ferris does it a bunch in this movie, obviously, but also Ed Rooney also breaks the fourth wall. Why do you think that the director chose to use this particular tactics so much in this movie, Max.
It just gives the characters so much more like life. Like when they can talk to the audience and like it sort of gives the energy of like breaking the script and like making your own choices. I think that's like a good example.
What also really gets the audience on your side. I think that's why generations of kids thought that Ferris was always the hero until someone decided to change that.
I did notice in this time around that Ferris treated working class people really poorly. He was always trying to buy them off with a couple dollars here and there, whether it was the garage attendants, the snooty maitre d', etc. Megan, did you have a favorite? This movie is filled with so many incredible scenes. Did one of them stand out as your favorite?
In general, I mean, I kind of loved the scene where the kids were calling Ferris from a payphone, and he kind of, I don't think he told people he needed a kidney, but it was a kind of a game of telephone. And when one underclass woman got on the call and they're like, "It's Ferris Bueller," and she goes, "Hi Ferris, how's your bod?" that was a fun one. But there's so many quotable.
Did you have a
bits.
favorite scene, Zach?
I really love the running back situation, like off the trampoline. But it would have been so much better if he ran into the kid. Just be like, no, he just straight up ran into the kid, and then he was like, "I don't care, I'm Ferris Bueller," and then landed it like.
That would definitely confirm him as the villain.
Did you have a favorite scene, Max?
I just like the whole Ferris plot line. I think it's just like so like great, and like you don't really need to break it up into like one great scene. It's all just so great. Like the whole comedy of Ferris Bueller.
One non-Ferris moment that we have to point out is the scene between Jeannie and Charlie Sheen, which was pretty
crazy
epic.
chemistry between those two.
And his first big on-screen moment.
Yeah, what did you think of Jeannie Bueller?
She was great. And I just, like, again, she was mostly completely, like, valid and justified in everything she did. Like, her little older brother, it's not specified, just gets to get off with not going to school completely scot-free. And you have to go to school and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Ferris is dying. He needs a kidney." Like, everyone is just completely, like, in awe of him. And he's just her stupid little brother that just gets away with whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And she's just completely valid in everything she does.
Could you relate to that sibling rivalry?
Yeah, but not as much of, like, a crazy, like, punishment. Because, like, I mean, like, sure, I can get away with a couple things, but Max, if he, like, it's way different.
Well, the parade scene is great. Danke Shane is still a classic moment, but I got to say my favorite scene in the movie remains and always has been the scene where they go to the Art Institute together. They're playing that great Smith song, "Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want." They're just really, really in the moment, and it shows that there's a level of depth to Ferris and to everybody, that they take time during this great day when they could just be kind of like goofing around. Obviously, they go to a baseball game, but have a ton of fun, have a fancy meal. But they go to an art museum and they appreciate art and they hang out together. And there's a little bit of romance that goes there. And I don't know. When we went to Chicago last summer, that was one of the big things I wanted to make sure to do, was to show you guys that museum and take you there too.
It was fun.
Oh, and guys,
Yes.
do you think that the "oh yeah" was overused, or do you think it was like the right amount?
It was perfectly
I think it was
used.
pretty
This
great.
movie has such great sound effects. Like, whenever there's like a big, like, dong, whenever like the principal does something stupid, it's just so great, and it makes it like so much funnier. This has like amazing.
It's kind of
sound
a perfect
effects.
movie. It's in my top 10 of all time for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Megan, was there anything I didn't ask you about this you wanted to say about it?
I think we got through everything.
Okay. That wraps up our John Hughes double feature episode of Back in My Day. We want to make sure to thank everybody here at LMC Media for their support, especially producer Astrid behind the booth. Thank you, Astrid, doing a great job. Before we go, as always, a few notes. You can find our podcast at backinmydaypod.com. You can get it on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get podcasts. It's also up on YouTube. So go check it out there. Next month, we will be doing a summer camp double feature classic with 1987's cringe classic, Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yes.
And 1989's Troop Beverly Hills, which you guys have not seen yet but are going to love. And if you loved your chat about Ferris Bueller, make sure you go to check out our friends over at the Video Vault series. They're showing Ferris Bueller on the big screen here at Mamaroneck Cinemas on May 19th. Go check that out. We will be there. Come say hello. We'll say hello to you right back. If you have any questions or comments, email us at hello@backinmydaypod.com. Remember to like, subscribe, share, all of that stuff. So until next time, be kind, rewind as we all go
Back in my day.
Oh, yeah.